The exciting new continent, Havenhythe, which was announced at RuneFest in early March 2025, is coming to RuneScape in early 2026. Recently, I did a deep dive into everything we know about Havenhythe so far. I covered elements such as how I think you should prepare, what some of the lore implications will be, and any connections that could be made to the Mahjarrat questline by the Lore Council at Jagex. A suggestion card will pop up now if you missed that video. One element that we did not discuss, however, was Guardian of Guthix Inanna. Where has she been throughout the adventurer's journey? Why did she not get involved with the banishing of the gods during the Twilight of the Gods quest? Did she even know about it? Who are some of the other Guardians of Guthix, and are they familiar with Inanna? My name is Glacial Phoenix, or the RuneScape Lorehound, and join me for another discussion about Havenhythe, which will include the Guardians of Guthix, more recommended requirements which I think you should tick off before Havenhythe releases, as well as some theory crafting about Inanna. Okay, so let's begin with a summary of the Guardians of Guthix. Quick spoiler alerts here for the World Guardian related quests and the first Necromancer questline. Inanna joins an excellent and proficient group of Guardians who have helped Guthix regulate Gielinor and its systems for millennia. Some of these Guardians have continued their duties even after Guthix's demise during the World Wakes quest. Let's have a recap of these Guardians and whether I think any of them have a chance of knowing who Inanna is. The most well-known Guardian of Guthix is probably Harald Death Esquire, who is commonly known as Death. He was the first human to experience death in Gielinor and was offered the opportunity by Guthix to become an overseer of death, as it were. What does an overseer of death do exactly? Well, death ensures a safe transfer of souls to the underworld after a creature passes away. They are then taken care of by Esquire, the jackal god of the underworld, who ensures the souls make their way to the afterlife successfully. To me, it would be surprising if Death did not know about Inanna, considering his ancient origins as a Guardian of Guthix that began in the First Age. Death has been rallying souls to the underworld since that time, so may have some idea at least of who Inanna is. My personal favourite Guardian, Juna, is the Guardian of the Tears of Guthix, an underground cavern where Guthix's tears continually fall for the lost heroes of the God Wars. When Guthix banished the gods after the God Wars ended in the Third Age, he cried about the destruction that they had bestowed upon the land and its inhabitants. Juna, one of his most loyal servants, was tasked with guarding this sacred memorial, as the tears harboured a small amount of Guthix's power. It wouldn't be surprising if Juna knew nothing about Inanna, considering she has been guarding that underground cavern for millennia, only leaving for duties which required her assistance, mainly taking place during the Sixth Age. Similarly, Valluta, the Guardian of the Void, may not have heard of Inanna either, considering her crucial job of standing guard against otherworldly creatures who threaten to enter Gielinor through her domain. Valluta's domain is a temple, which has close connections with the Void, and so Guthix placed her there to stand guard against these potential incoming threats. Valluta is a valiant, steadfast stone tortoise, who is likely one of the most powerful Guthix Guardians, with her power perhaps only surpassed by Solak and Misalionar. Speaking of, Solak, the Guardian of the Grove, is an immensely powerful being and a defender of the Lost Grove. The Lost Grove is a place which contains a large amount of power, and so Solak was assigned to protect it during the Second Age. This makes it unlikely for him to know about Inanna, considering he is on the opposite side of Gielinor. Also, the fact that he has been battling with being possessed by a treacherous elf up until the Sixth Age when the adventurer comes along probably makes it fairly certain that he will not know who Inanna is. Fiara, who takes the form of a giant earwig, guards the Fist of Guthix, a place where the Stone of Jas was once protected during the God Wars. Similar to Juna, I would say it is unlikely for her to have heard of Inanna, considering she also has had a duty to guard an underground cavern for millennia. Little bit of trivia here, if you do not have Fiara outside of the Fist of Guthix room, it would be because she sadly died in your version of the World Wakes quest, after you chose the incorrect combatants to face the threats in Guthix's cavern. Do let me know in the comments if you still have Fiara in your game, or whether she has been replaced with Coulson. One of the more obvious Guardians of Guthix is us. Up until the Twilight of the Gods quest, we were a Guardian of Guthix, known as the World Guardian. But considering how late on we became the World Guardian, i.e. at the beginning of the 6th Age, it would be a little strange if we had met Inanna before, wouldn't it? But never say never, I suppose. Ocellus Virius is a Guardian without a specific task given by Guthix. He guards Gielinor from the misguided Order of Ascension members, who ended up kidnapping villagers to experiment on them. Yeah, it's a long story, perhaps for another day. He remains outside of the Monastery of Ascension to ensure Gielinor is protected from these renegades. Therefore, I think he's quite unlikely to know Inanna. One of the more familiar Guardians of Guthix to you may be Misalionar, who's better known as Rasial, the first Necromancer. He was a Guardian of Guthix once upon a time, tasked with protecting the runecrafting altars, but grew fearful of his own personal demise and started to veer away from Guthix's teachings. The adventurer eliminates Rasial's physical form during the first Necromancer quest series, and now he remains as a holographic head in his citadel. He is currently rebuilding his physical form after the events of Alpha vs Omega, so it is unlikely that we will see him again for a while. Cress, the Guardian of Guthix's resting place, is dead, which is sad. Difficult to ask a dead automaton whether he knew Inanna. The same goes for Eternum, the former World Guardian, and Zoria, the Guardian of the Rune Essence. They're also both sadly deceased. I'm not so sure the NPC contact spell will work to contact these guys. Answers on a postcard. So, after that summary of all the known Guardians of Guthix, let's have a bit of a theory craft with Inanna. First of all, let's go back pretty far. We could assume that Inanna doesn't even know about the edicts being broken, and Guthix's death. She may have felt a disconnection from Guthix as the other Guardians did, but it may be the player's job in an unknown conversation to break that devastating news to her. Perhaps she'll be completely surprised that the gods came back and are now gone again. Maybe she'll be distraught to hear about Misalionar's treacherous ways, Cress's demise during the World Wakes, or Fiara's death if she is no longer in your game. Returning to the Guardians of Guthix, have the other Guthix Guardians even heard of Inanna? I've made a few assumptions and predictions here and there, but we really don't know. But if they haven't heard of her, how has she remained so elusive? Is it this potential mist that surrounds Havenhythe? Has it prevented connection with the rest of the world? Has Havenhythe been cut off from Gielinor through other nefarious means that we will discover when we're there? This would be a solid explanation of why Inanna was not present when the Edicts of Guthix were being re-established during the Twilight of the Gods quest. On the other side of the coin, maybe many of the Guthix Guardians do know Inanna and have had meetings with her in the past and will unlock some new dialogue. But maybe they haven't met for a long time for some reason. Maybe Inanna is just immensely dedicated to looking after Havenhythe and its residents. It is mentioned that Inanna doesn't want residents to worship her, as per Guthix's wishes. He said that he did not want mortals to worship him, and the same goes for the Guardians. Has she continued with that unwavering belief that Guthix should not be worshipped or contacted, no matter the cost, even if it results in his death? Do you have any theories of your own? Please feel free to share with me in the comments, and do make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this kind of content. Now, finally, let's move on to some more recommended requirements that I've kind of thought about and really think you should try and complete before Havenhythe releases. To fully appreciate the Guardian of Guthix lore, I would highly recommend completing the following. The World Wakes and all the recommended quests before it. Don't just skip to the end, or don't just skip to the World Wakes because you have the option to. Because those quests that lead up to the World Wakes give you a real understanding of what happened up until Guthix's death. And this includes amazing quests like Ritual of the Mahjarrat, The Void Stares Back, and many others, and I would recommend also doing Tears of Guthix to learn about what Juna does. In addition to that, a lot of the Sliske quests and the Return of the Gods quests, if you can kind of get all those done up until Twilight of the Gods, will give you a solid understanding of everything that the Guardians of Guthix have had to deal with over the recent times. I would say the more crucial quests to get done though is everything leading up and including the World Wakes. The other quests will be recommended but are not going to, I don't think, inhibit your ability to understand what's going on. Now a lot of these leading up to the World Wakes are very high-end level quests, with Ritual of the Mahjarrat requiring many quests to complete, 77 agility, 76 crafting and 76 mining. So best get started on working on these skills and quests now before Havenhythe is released in early 2026. Well, I am very much looking forward to exploring Havenhythe and meeting Inanna to discover the answers to some of these questions. I'm sure Jagex have some incredible stories to tell us in this land, and I, for one, am very fired up about it. Quick shout out to the helpers I had for this video, Aristarchus in my Discord server for helping me find Valluta in game, and to YouTuber Rugged Hobo for providing me with Rasial and Solak boss battles, because I suck too hard at bossing to do it myself. A link to his channel will be in the description, so please do check him out. What about you? Are you looking forward to Havenhythe? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.